Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Hook. Today we're going to spatchcock a turkey in preparation for Thanksgiving. We're going to cover how to prep your turkey, how to get the egg ready, as well as the cooking process. Again, if you find these videos useful, please like and subscribe. Let's get into it. The first thing let's talk about is the ingredients that we're going to use today. So I just picked up this butterball turkey at Walmart for about 97 cents a pound. This is a 12-pound bird. I'm choosing not to brine my turkey because if you read right here, it contains up to 8% of a solution of water, salt, spices, and natural flavors, yada, yada, yada. Basically what that means to me is that I don't want to double salt this turkey, so I'm not going to put it into a salt brine because again, it's already got some salt inside of the turkey, right? As far as the rub I'm going to use is the Superbird by Fire and Smoke. Some of the ingredients, it has a paprika, coriander, thyme, oregano, lemon, black pepper, and brown sugar. And it says that it's good for turkey, so we're going to go ahead and give that a go today. I'm also going to use a stick of butter that I'm going to inject into the breasts. And I'm just going to use one stick, so probably just half a stick per side that I'm going to use an injector on. So let's go ahead and get this turkey open and go through the spatchcock process. All right, so your first step, once you unpackage your turkey, is going to go ahead and take out all of like the gizzards and the neck that they shove into the cavity of the bird. And then typically they just put the gizzards kind of up in the neck hole area. Obviously you don't want to cook that with that. It would be pretty hard to do that using this method because you would find all that later, especially if you're going to cook it the turkey whole. You want to make sure all that stuff is out because obviously that would end up pretty nasty, especially with all that plastic and extra stuff inside of the turkey. Okay, so once we have this up, we go ahead and pull these legs out the side. Still got a little bit of ice, but we'll make sure we get that all here in a minute. I'm going to turn it breast side down. All right, so our initial step here, once we have it turned over on the breast side down, is we're going to basically just kind of pick a line on either side of the backbone and use a sharp kitchen scissors to get this going. If you've ever done this with a chicken, a turkey's a little bit bigger bird, obviously, so might take a little bit more force to cut the bones on either side of the backbone. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out and we'll be back in a minute. All right, so once we're done cutting out the backbone, just go ahead and discard that. And just to make the spatchcocking process a little bit easier, kind of like right here at the top here of this breastbone, I'm just gonna make a little bit of a cut. That'll make it easier to break that bone as we want it to fold flat. Next, we're gonna go turn it upside down, breast side up. Gonna spread the legs out like this to get that shape that we're looking for. So it'll go onto the grill looking like this. And then since we made that cut right up here in that bone, be able to push down with some force, basically to get these breasts to sit as basically as level as they can. I mean, they're pretty thick, so it's not gonna be perfectly level, of course. But this is the overall shape that we want it to go on to the smoker on, okay? And to further prep, I like to put my hand up under the skin. Gotta be really careful not to break the skin. It's pretty easy to tear. But basically I'm trying to get some separation between the meat and the skin here so I can go ahead and rub some butter and some more barbecue rub, so that Superbird rub between the meat and the skin, okay? So you can go from the top and the bottom, and you'll be able to get that done in no time. I'm just gonna do it for this specific area. I don't bother doing it with the thighs or the drumsticks or anything like that, but kind of move your fingers through there. Again, being careful not to puncture the skin. Not a huge problem if you do, it's more of just an appearance thing while you're cooking. All right, so now I have enough room under here that I can go ahead and take some of that rub, put it in my hand, and kind of rub it on to the breast from that side. I'm gonna go ahead and heat up my butter. I'm gonna use the injector to probably like 3 or 4 holes each side, getting about a half a stick of butter per breast, and maybe a couple squirts into the thighs to add a little bit of butter there as well. And then I'm going to generously apply the rub pretty much all over the bird, right? We'll come back once I have that complete. All right, so our next step, I'm gonna go ahead and inject this butter into the bird. I took one stick of butter in the microwave, melted it down. Then I took some of this rub, coated the surface, and then stirred it around a little bit to try to get as much of that rub inside of the meat if we can. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill up my syringe. And I'm just gonna pick about 2 to 3 spots on either side. And inject this right into the heart of the meat there. Lovely sounds. And like we talked about before, I'm just going to do a couple shots here into the thigh and the drumsticks. Just because I got enough of this butter left, okay? And then like we talked about before, I'm going to generously apply a bunch of this rub all over the bird. There's really no need to put it on the backside because it's not in direct contact with anything, and there's really no intentions of eating anything over there either. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and load up this bird with some of this rub. Like we talked about, I'm going to put some in my hands, kind of get it up inside between the skin and the meat. And kind of lift this up around, manipulate whatever you need to do to get as much of this rub onto the bird. All right, so that's just the general gist. I'll probably clean this up a little bit off tape here before we put it onto the smoker. But next, let's go ahead and talk about how we're gonna prep our egg for this. So we're gonna use the XL egg today, obviously, because it's a big turkey. I'm just going to use Big Green Eggs, 100% natural oak and hickory. I feel like this gives a really nice flavor to the meat when you cook with it. You can also use chunks to add a little bit of smoke. However, we're gonna be cooking this around 350 to 400 degrees. So at that temperature, I personally don't feel like it really adds that much in addition to the lump charcoal. I feel like that gives us enough of a flavor. As far as the cooking method here, I got my ceramic grill store set up, and I have my half moons set up there for indirect cooking, and I have my drip pan there lined in aluminum foil, just because I like to keep everything clean, and I feel like that's just going to extend the life of my equipment. All right. So to get this started, I have my bottom vent open down there to allow air to come in. And then I have just my grill torch. You can also just use basically oil soaked, like cooking oil soaked paper towels. I'd probably put like 4 of them in there. That's just gonna take a little bit longer. I'm gonna go ahead and light about 4 or 5 spots here with my torch. Probably gonna take a few minutes. If I was only going to cook it around 225 degrees, I'd probably only light maybe 2 or 3, probably 3-ish spots, but I'm going to be cooking pretty hot, so I just kind of want to get things rolling, and XL takes quite a bit of heat to get up to temperature, right? So we're going to go ahead and start that with the grill torch. I'm gonna go ahead and pick a few spots, and I'll be back in a few minutes once this is ready to go. Got the grill up to just a little bit over 400. That's okay if we overshoot just a hair. Once we put the turkey on there, it's gonna come back down a little bit, and we'll try to catch that 375 plus or minus 25-ish, so 350 to 400. So I got my turkey ready here. As you can see, I put on a bunch more rub, and some of that butter is starting to go cold and solid, but I'm gonna go ahead and use 2 hands, and I'm gonna lift this up and put it right there on the grill, and I'll be right back. All right, so I got my turkey on there. I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little bit more rub in the spots that kind of rubbed off when you're touching it. This is really more just to kind of flavor that skin. Obviously, it's not gonna do much for the meat. All right, so there we are. I'm gonna try to catch 375 to 400, and I'm gonna check back here in about, call it 30 to 45 minutes. I'm really shooting for about 160. So then, you know, on the label it says cook to 170. Obviously poultry is usually about 165, so I'll cook to about 160-ish pull, and then through just sitting there and resting, it should come up to that 170 in accordance with the packaging, right? All right, so we'll be back here in about 30 minutes to give a temperature check on the turkey. It's been about 25 to 30 minutes, just under 400 degrees. Skin's looking pretty nice. Let's get a temperature. I'm sure it's got a long ways to go. Yeah, only like 80 something degrees. So quite a ways to go. We'll check back in another half an hour, just taking a look at how it was coming along. And again, if you don't have one of these Javelin pen thermometers, they're only like 20 bucks on Amazon. I'll post the link in the description. Definitely a must-have if you grill a lot. All right, we'll check back in about 30 minutes. Turkey's been on for about 1 hour now. Go ahead and temperature check. It's about 135, 133. Call it 135 to 140. Obviously it'll be warmer down here. Oh, not so much. So I think after another probably 30-ish minutes, we're looking to be about done. So kind of estimated it to be about an hour and a half to 2 hours for this 12-pound bird. So we'll come back here in about 30 minutes, give or take, and make sure that we don't overcook it, because nobody wants a dry turkey for Thanksgiving. All right. So again, looking for about that 160 to make sure that we don't blow past that 170 there. North of that, obviously, we're going to dry out our bird the hotter we get it, okay? So we'll be back here in about 30 minutes. See you then. Back, we're at the hour and a half mark. Turkey is looking good. It smells really good. 147. $140s. It's about 155 in the middle. 140. So obviously just a little bit of uneven cooking going on here. So I'm going to make sure that we wait until this is pretty much the coolest point from what I gathered, until that's at about 160, okay? So we'll come back here, call it 15 minutes from now, and give it another go. All right, we'll see you then. We're right at the 2 hour mark. Okay, let's get another final temperature check here. All right, it's about 160 where it was kind of the coldest, or the lowest temperature rather, not cold. All right, let's check down here. All right, everything's looking good. The skin looks like it's nice and crisp. We've been cooking at basically about 400 degrees for 2 hours. This all looks really nice, and pretty safe to say it's done. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and pull it. I'm gonna let it rest for about 5 to 10 minutes while I make some stuffing. Might as well make stuffing if you're gonna make turkey, and I'll let you know what the final product looks like once I cut into it. You could see the turkey turned out really moist. Very happy with that. Definitely that butter made the inside here really nice and moist throughout the breasts. The legs turned out really nice. You can see the skin firmed up really well. And there's a little bit of a smoke ring here from all that smoke that it got in the egg. Overall, really happy with this cook. Again, if you find this video educational, please like and subscribe, and have a happy Thanksgiving.